guys, this video is going to be an intro video to who I am, what I'm about, and why I started YouTube, an introduction to basically an overview about why I'm doing this and what started it, what fueled this.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Alicia, the queen diva, best to ever do it. I am a boss at everything that I do. I've had so many different types of careers. Retail, from working behind the scenes in film as a production assistant, to more recently the IT sector, where I basically started from help desk and worked my way up to procurement analyst, like the boss that I am. I've had a YouTube channel for like 10 years, and it's been off and on. Issues with being on camera and seeing myself on camera. I had issues with how I looked. I had issues with I had to do a lot of inner work before I became comfortable with showing myself on camera, because obviously that's not an easy thing to do, talking to yourself, and people don't understand that this is what you're doing, you're talking to yourself. But I do that a lot. Something always drew me back to YouTube. Every single career I've had, I've always wanted to do YouTube. Well, prior to getting this new job in the IT field with the help of my best friend Farrell, love you to death, I was doing YouTube, but I wasn't showing my face, and you didn't hear my voice. And it's because I had issues with my voice growing up. I was always known as the girl with the deep voice. The IT videos that I would do would have no sound. And for a while, I just felt like if I'm watching this video and someone's trying to teach me something, I would want them to be talking. Prior to getting this job, I had my first IT job where I was an intern. Through that, I learned so much. After leaving that job, because it was a contract position, I said I wanted to start working out and getting a little bit more serious about my health. So literally, after I left that job, I think it was Thursday or Friday, that Monday I signed up for the gym, and I started going to the gym 5 to 7 days a week. When I first started, it was 6 days a week, and it was 2 hours per day. Uber or drive, take my son to school. If I'm not driving, it was super nice because it was during the summer, I'd walk to the gym, go work out. From the gym, I'd walk home, probably get a salad, get something to drink, get something to eat, walk home, come home, relax a little bit, watch some of my shows, then walk to go get my son, and then walk back. I did this for 6 months straight, and I didn't really see the results until a year later. So I was feeling good about myself, and that's when I started getting back to making YouTube videos. And out of nowhere, I had this spiritual awakening, and it was around March, April-ish, where I didn't want to consume meat anymore. I completely stopped. I tried to do the pescatarian thing, but it threw me off. Whenever I'd eat meat, I'd have low energy, and I would feel tired, and I didn't want to go to work, and it was very uncomfortable for me. I gave up the meat, and then I was just okay, let me try the fish. I had to give up the fish. So I'm 85% vegan. Yes, it's a thing. It just means 15% of the time I have issues with cheese. I'm working on it. Leave it, okay? So I had this awakening where I started to feel feelings. And growing up as a child, I was always taught, my parents are both Geminis. Mother's birthday is the June 11th. My father's birthday is the 12th. They're from the streets. Obviously, they grew up, they had a rough life. So they taught me how to survive. And one of the things that I was taught was not to really have emotions, and you can't show weakness. So crying and showing emotion is not something you can show when you grow up in a rural area, right? Especially in those urban areas, right? The projects. When you grow up there, crying is a sign of weakness. I was a robot. It felt like I was a bot, and I was just getting up and doing these routine things. When I was in high school, I felt like that, getting up, going to school. Then I ended up getting a job. I had a son. All of it felt very robotic. All of it. And I didn't understand why I was doing this. Fast forwarding, spiritual awakening, feeling all types of feelings. I didn't want to be at my job. When I first got there, this is a high-paying job. Probably the most I've ever gotten paid in my life. And I did not want to be at this job anymore. And I think that it translated. In the first month or two, I just wasn't feeling it. And I asked myself while I was working, I said, can you see yourself here? Is this where you're going to be? And the answer was no. It was this deep isolation where I felt like no one truly understood me. At work, most of the people there thought more on the 3D level, and I was thinking beyond that. There's some people who believe in certain theories, right? Flat earth theory, whatever it is. I don't give my opinions about any of that. I do say, however, I don't know what is, because I haven't seen, but I'm open to hearing other people's opinions. I don't believe what I was taught in school, and most of the people that were in the IT sector were facts people, and they care about the science, and they care about what's in the books. And I'm just like, yes, this is in the books, but it could also be something else. I just felt like I didn't fit in. Throughout my entire life, I've never fit in anywhere. I've always stood out. And growing up, it was very, very annoying, and it was very, very hard. I mean, I'll go into that like at a later point. While going through this journey, I started experiencing emotions. And I remember leaving the job with my best friend. I think we were going to hang out or something. And we lived like 5 minutes away from each other. So we're getting on the train, and I remember seeing this lady on the floor. And she was an older woman, dressed real nice, and then there was people surrounding her. I looked at her face. She had blood like here, and I looked at her. I internalized what she was feeling. A tear came down from my eyes, and my best friend looks at me, and he was like, just relax, I know what's happening. I was like, yeah, I took in her energy. And that's when I realized that being sensitive and feeling things wasn't a bad thing. It's a superpower. I'm an empath.
Ain't no disability. I'm a superhero.
The question was, how do I protect my energy? So I worked for a while learning how to protect my energy from these external forces, because as an empath, you can feel all the feelings in the room. You can feel everyone's intentions. You can feel everything, and it can cause you to be very, very uncomfortable. When I first got to this job, I felt everybody's, and I thought it was me being paranoid, but it wasn't. This place, there was a lot of alcohol, beer on tap. It was an IT company. That's, it's normal. And I stopped drinking when I was 18 years old. So, when you're younger, you might dibble and dabble even though you're not supposed to. At 18, I got pregnant and I had my son. I stopped doing everything. So for 7 years, I was free of all that. I got to this job, and that's when I started back exploring other avenues. And every time I would do it, I don't want to say I would regret it, I would just feel at a lower vibration. One time I got so drunk, I blacked out. And that was one of the scariest moments for me, because I didn't remember anything. And as I was doing my research and listening to people like Ralph Smart, and like my grandfather who's been telling me this for years, alcohol contains spirits, okay? These spirits or deities, when you drink the alcohol, the poison, they take over your body. It's a spiritual thing. It's why when you black out, you don't remember anything. I lost track of time for 8 hours. I woke up in my best friend's house, and grateful that I have a best friend I can trust. But he was telling me that I was losing my mind. I was peed in the street. I was doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And that's not a part of who I am. Something took over my body, and that's very, very scary. I'm at this job. Obviously, I'm really, really good at this job, but there were things that were happening that were irrational and that did not make any sense to me. And I started getting into numerology, and when I started seeing certain number patterns like 1111, 1122, 1133, 1144, 1244, 1155, 1255, all these, it would be consecutive. Every 10 minutes or every 5 minutes, I would see these angel numbers. So I started looking them up and seeing what they meant, and they provided me with some comfort, knowing that the angels and the spirit guides around me were around to protect me, and that everything was going to be okay. Around the 6th, 7th month mark of working there, I started seeing 999, different variations of 9. And one of the many meanings of 9 is completion, closing of a chapter, starting over, a new beginning, right? This could be the ending of a relationship, the ending of a job, the ending of this. Then I realized that eventually I wouldn't be at this job because I don't want to be here. And more recently, you could say I manifested it into reality, even though on the outside perspective, it looks like it was done by external forces. I really did not want to be there, but I could not leave without making sure I had what I needed. So the universe worked it out in such a way where I can wake up at whatever time I want, take my son to school, and make beautiful YouTube videos. One of the biggest wake-up calls that I received this year was the attempted kidnapping with an Uber driver. My son, I was taking him like I normally do. For me in the morning when I'm dealing with my son, it's too much to take the train. So his school is about 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away, 20 minutes on a bad day. So I would do 2 trips on an Uber, one to his school and one to the train station. This day was normal like every other day. I actually got out earlier. I was really like proud of myself for getting out the house earlier. It was a sort of like a van shaped, and it was for wheelchairs. So he had to open the door and remove this hatch thing, right? And then he had to close it in his own way. So I didn't know how to do that, right? So he had to do all that. So we're in the Uber. My son, the way it's set up is the van is here, he's here, I'm sitting here, my son is here. It's like, and then it's like a space, right? So we're in this Uber. He's stalled for a minute. He has 2 phones. One with the actual address of where he's supposed to go, and another phone on the side he thinks I don't see. Because I'm very observant, I watch everything. I see him like stalling or doing something. So then he starts driving. He gets 2 blocks up to the corner, and then, you know, at this corner, normally the Uber drivers go straight. And if they make a right, it's to make another left to go this way, because no matter which way you're going, you still have to make a left. So as he's at this light, we're at this red light, I see him inputting 1,000 Rockaway something. So I live in Brownsville, Brooklyn, for the people who live in New York. Why is this guy putting in a different address than what I'm supposed to be going? So I'm looking, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, you don't need to use another phone. I can like tell you where to go, because like, obviously I live in this neighborhood. He was just like, no, I'm taking you here. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, I'm gonna call the police. He goes, yeah, call the police. Like, honestly, there was no reason for this, right? So we're driving, me and my son, like my son is punching him in the head. I'm like, we're yelling and screaming to people outside. And in black neighborhoods, we mind our business. And that's one of the issues that I've seen. So they weren't paying us any mind that I was yelling and screaming, because the window, the way it was set up, he controlled it. But it was like this much crack. So we're yelling and screaming through it. No one's paying us any mind. Finally, there were 2 gentlemen that were, as we were approaching, what was that, Pennsylvania, I believe it was, or Stanley. We were approaching a block that I think was Pennsylvania. There were 2 gentlemen, and I yelled to them because we were at a stop sign, and he ended up calling the police. So as we turned the corner, I remember like, I'm on the phone with 911, and I'm trying to describe what's happening, that we're in the car with this guy. He's just driving us wherever he wants. I can't really give her a location because we're moving. So 911 is being called, and I'm freaking out. I'm yelling and screaming. Finally, a calmness came over me, right? As I'm on the phone with the 911 operator, as my son is punching this guy in the face. We approach this, we turn, and it's kind of like, it's like a street, but it's no crossway this way. It's just, it makes you stop here. It was Stanley Avenue. Something in me, I just grabbed his car keys. I took the keys out, and I tried to open the door to get out. He wouldn't allow me out. So I'm yelling and screaming to the people. Paddy wagon, and if you don't know what that is, that's the NYPD van. It drives past, and I'm yelling at the people in the street to tell them to bring the cops over here. The cops come over here. I'm shaking in fear. I'm very, very upset. I'm explaining what happened. I'm like, hey, he tried to kidnap my son and I to take us wherever it was. I said, here's the car keys. I don't trust this guy. Please help us get out. The Uber driver was silent. He was quiet. He didn't say a word, right? So the cops were like, hey, I'm so sorry. We thought you were a stab victim. We're actually here on a call because someone got stabbed in the area. We have to leave you. Do you need an ambulance or anything? And I was just like, no, I'm good. A little shaken up by it. And then I recorded a small video because I stalled him in the middle of traffic. I recorded a small video, which I can put in the video, of me showing that this guy tried to kidnap.
So gonna get your ass, you motherfucker. I swear to God. He tried to kidnap. I took his keys out his car, and I called the police, and I stalled him right here. He tried to kidnap me. Oh, that's smart. Yeah, no. Yeah, because I'm a motherfucking fighter. Thank you, baby. Yeah, where you at, little motherfucker? No, I called.
So I called another Uber, and this lady Uber, she So dope, so nice. I ended up telling her what happened. I told the school what happened. My son ended up having to see a psychiatrist that day to make sure he was good, he was straight, because we're survivors, that's what we do. After I dropped him off, the second Uber trip was to the train station. Now, as she's pulling off, there's a yellow school bus. Was literally about to kill us and drive us off the road. Luckily, she honked and moved out of the way. I was just like, universe, what is happening? What is going on here and why is this happening? I didn't understand what was going on. So after that, I went to work. I only told one person because I didn't want pity. I was pretty shaken up by it. I reported it to Uber, and then I went to the police station. I filed a report. They tried to tell me that, oh, it could have been this and that. I didn't even allow it to affect me. I was just like, this is what's happening. I don't want anything else to happen to anyone else. And my mom ended up telling me, like, in the direction that he was taking us, a lot of girls end up going missing over in that area. And I feel like for me, that was a huge wake-up call. It was like, wake up, you have a purpose, you need to be putting your content out there, you need to be helping people, you need to be inspiring people. So that kind of like, and that was the day after my mother's birthday, on my father's birthday, that happened. I thought that was very interesting and very profound. And recently, a video about wanting to quit my job, and I really wanted to leave. And more recently, I was let go based off of something I did not do, based off nepotism, favoritism, and people hire their friends may be incompetent, and it later turned out that the issue that happened, it wasn't me, but the deed was done, and I was honestly very happy. And the day after, I had modeling class, so I just went and I lived my best life. And now I just make YouTube videos, and I'm following my dreams. And for me, this is the happiest that I've ever been in my entire life. I'm living my life. I'm 25 years old. I have a 7-year-old son who's going to be streaming. I'm going to travel the world and make YouTube videos. I'm going to inspire. I'm going to do so many things. And I realized that job was holding me down. Leaving the matrix was one of the best things that has ever happened to me, because I don't have to expose myself to the negative energies that plague that place. I am free. There's a freedom that comes with it, because people who are stuck at these jobs they don't like, they're stuck. They're very unhappy, so they make the surroundings around them very unhappy. And if they're running a show, you have to deal with a lot, especially being a strong black queen. There's a lot that goes with it, because you have to dim your light just a little bit. You're a little bit too extra, you're a little bit too much. But when I go to these acting classes and modeling, when I'm around the entertainment sector, it's okay for me to be extra. I can be myself to a degree, even though most people won't fully understand and overstand where I'm coming from. At least the other side of me that's extra and like all over the place, I can be me. I created a YouTube channel mainly because I wanted to obviously have passive income and be able to make a living without having to sell my time. Selling my time to these corporations and spending 40 hours a week to get docked. All this money for taxes. What are you working for? I want to do things on my own terms and have my own business and be my own boss, because I'm already a boss. When I was there, I was running everything, and it was too much for them, because it's like, who are you and what credentials do you have? Like, I have my brain, I have my intuition, and that's what guides me. And I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about who I am and what I'm about and what you have to look forward. This channel is going to range from vlogs, spiritual videos, gaming videos, motivational videos, and we'll see where it goes. I might even add skits to it at a later point, but for now, I'm going to do a broad range of things that I like to do. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you guys for all the support. Hello YouTube land. Hello whatever land it is. Hello IG. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. And remember, your thoughts are a reflection of your reality.